Myron, what'd you do? It seems quieter than before. Yeah, no, stop fiddling with my stuff. Yeah, I hired Myron back. I hired him, and then I fired him, and then he had a lawsuit against me, and then I fired him. I won. And then, because he's clearly incompetent, and then I fired him again, and I rehired him because he has 5 kids. And I'm just a compassionate guy. I mean, if he can't make a living wage, I mean, even though it's not my fault he had 5 kids, I somehow have to pay for them. Welcome if you're new here. What an intro. I had a fun week on YouTube, on social media. And this just happened 10 hours ago. I was talking to a guy named Matt Slick. For those of you who don't know, he is a Christian Calvinist apologist. I think he has some problems in his life. That's putting it mildly. I asked him, what must I do to be saved? He gave the typical answer that a non-Calvinist would give, but then admitted ultimately it's a done deal before the foundations of the earth. I asked some good questions. Like, here's an example of a question I asked him, and he liked the question.
Even though we know that God has chosen people from the foundation of the world, Ephesians 1, 4, and 5, we also know that the more we preach and teach, apparently the more people have been elected from the foundation of the world. So we don't know how it works. As I like to say, we're in sales, not production.
Is it because more people have been elected because of preaching, or just more people are aware of it, of what's been predestined?
Good question. I don't know how to answer it.
Okay.
Good question. Seriously, good question.
I have okay, so I played that to show that the conversation between me and him last night on Discord, the Gestalt channel, or room in the Politics and Religion channel on Discord, run by Converse Contender. So there's the source. I played that to show that, hey, we had rapport. It was good. He, I think, respected my questions, respected the dialogue, the civil back and forth. But then I did the poof or drown thought experiment, which is, for some Christians, a very a thorn in their side type of thought experiment. Some Christians have no problem with it. They just answer it, poof or drown. I'll give you some tips, though. I've had to refine it over the years because people try to, wiggle their way out of it. I'll lay all my cards on the table. I have what's called the poof or drown thought experiment that I ask a lot of Christians. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I'm a good swimmer, so let's see.
Okay. And so, again, all my cards on the table. The goal of this thought experiment is not about morality or anything like that. It's moral intuitions, because many Christians say that, in fact, you alluded to it just before, we know what is good based on God and what he's revealed. And so, for example, we see certain things and we say, oh, that's good. And I think you might say that's because God has put some... So if you're an atheist listening and you want to use the poof or drown, make sure you say, I'm putting my cards on the table. So if you view this as a trap, okay, fine. But I'm letting you know that where this is going is to pit you against God. I'm letting you know from the outset. I'm trying to pit your moral intuitions against the God you worship and serve. If you do it that way, I really think you get some social credit. That you let them know that this is what you're doing. And then they can't accuse you of this gotcha or whatever. Okay, maybe it is a gotcha, but I'm letting you know. Be prepared. Here it goes. Some type of moral law in our hearts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So anyhow, here's the thought experiment.
Good answer. Yes.
You're up in heaven with Yahweh, and it's a long, long time ago. In fact, it's about the time of the days of Noah, a little bit before that. And Yahweh looks at you, Matt, and says, "Oh, oy vey, look at all the sin down there. I mean, it's terrible." For those of you who don't know, Yahweh's Jewish. And
that's why he says,
except for Noah. I like that guy. I'm going to execute my justice on planet Earth. And I'm going to do it one of two ways. And both are moral because I'm giving these options. Yeah, Discord and Word. It's very important that if you do the poof or drown, you let the interlocutor know that this is not a grounding of morality type thought experiment. It is, We have two moral options because God is giving these two moral options. So they're moral by definition because God is giving them. God can't give an option that's immoral. Well, you can find, I think, verses in the Bible that say that maybe he can. And so option one, send lots of rain, floods, and it will kill men, women, children, toddlers, infants, babies, everybody,
Younglings.
animals. That's option one. Except for Noah's family, he will be saved. And option two is all these evil people will just be instantaneously poofed out of existence. Yeah, and it's also important. I didn't do it this year, but when you do this thought experiment, let them know that this is only about how they leave Earth. It has nothing to say, they're going to heaven, going to hell, eternal, whatever the eternal afterlife was, it still is. Whatever it is, it still was. Whatever. You get the point. It's just how you leave the planet. Is it through poofing? Just instantaneously, poop, you're gone? Or drowning with, treading water, lungs being filled with water. You barf it out. You take in more water. You barf it out. Just poofed. And so Yahweh looks at you, Matt, and he says, I'm going to do what I want to do. But I'm curious, Matt, what would you have me do? Poof or drown? What would you say?
Oh, I know what I would say.
What would you say?
Let your will be done, not mine.
But God is God. He's sovereign, and he's asking you. In fact, he's commanding you to give your opinion. That's new. I've never used that before, but I like it. God commands you to answer in one of two ways, either poof or drown. You can't say your will be done because God's commanding you not to say that. He's commanding you to say poof or drown. So by saying anything else, you're disobeying God. I got to keep that in. I like that. Opinion. What would you say, poof or drown?
My opinion is I would do whatever you decide because you have all the knowledge and wisdom and I don't.
No, God's commanding you to say either poof or drown. You can only say one word, and it's either poof or drown. God is commanding you to answer him that way. What would you say?
I'd say you're outside the Christian worldview now, and you're not arguing Christianity.
Okay. I take that to mean that you don't want to entertain the hypothetical.
No, I'm saying that you're not arguing Christian theology. You're arguing something else now. You're kind of delving.
Okay, you're right. I'm not arguing Christian theology. I'm just asking the question, poof. Yeah, so whenever they push back like that, you say, you're right. I'm not arguing Christian theology. This is a thought experiment and assume it has nothing to do with Christian theology. But you still believe in a God. You still believe in a God that can speak to people, and he speaks this, hypothetically, in this thought experiment. What's your answer? Poof or drown?
I already gave you the answer.
Okay, how about if I changed it a bit? You still have kids. You have children, right? Alive and
Yes.
well? Okay. Or, in fact, you know what? Let's take your wife. Yeah, so I switched from kids to wife because the thought occurred to me in my brain that he might not even like his own kids. So I'm quite sure he loves his wife. So I went to wife. Let's say God told me that for morally sufficient reasons, your wife has to be gone. I was so tempted to say killed there, but I was nice. Be gone. And he's going to execute his justice in one of two ways. Either he's going to poof your wife out of existence, just instantaneously. She will not see it coming. She just poof, she's gone. And she goes up to heaven or whatever, if she's saved. Or she will be drowned, either in a swimming pool, bathtub, whatever. Somehow God's going to execute it in a way that she will be drowned. So for your own wife, Matt, what would you say, poof or drown?
I'd say, do what you want, my Lord. And by the way, my wife has one of the rare.
Do what you want, my Lord. And people in the comments section rightly pointed out there's many examples in the Old Testament of prophets, Moses, kind of bargaining with God, giving God their opinion of how he should do things. So I'm even within the scope of the theology that I don't think, I mean, you can give your opinion to God.
Connective tissue disorders in the entire world. She and her brothers all have it. They're the only ones in the world that they know of where the siblings all have it. She's had 25 surgeries, including open heart surgery, where she almost died on the table because her aorta dissected. She's had 4 back surgeries, numerous hand surgeries, feet surgeries, lower back surgery. She has.
Okay, he's going through a litany of problems his wife has, and I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, you can list a couple of things and then get to your point. But why are you just talking about all the bad things that have happened to your wife? What's the purpose of this? And then I start thinking, is he pulling out the sympathy card? How dare you bring up my wife and when she's gone through all these problems? I didn't know. But still, he ought to know I don't know. And why? He could have just said, my wife has struggled greatly on this earth with medical conditions, and then maybe he would have said, and I still say, thou will be done, Lord. He could have reduced all that to 10 seconds, but he continues on.
Has arthritis. She has to wear braces on her fingers. They don't go sideways. She's had her gallbladder removed. She's in constant pain. Her osteoporosis is worse than a 100-year-old woman. She has broken ribs by catching a glass falling off a.
Okay, now, Matt, it sounds like she suffered. Another part of me was thinking of saying something like, well, at least she's not paralyzed from the neck down like my sister was and on a feeding tube. You want to play the sympathy card? Okay, game on.
Hold on.
Matt, it sounds like she's suffered a great amount right now.
You brought up my wife. Let me speak about my wife. You brought her up, and I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth. I wonder if I was on stage, if Matt Slick would have come up and slapped me. It sounds like she suffers a lot right now, and so why would you want her to suffer more through drowning?
I'm done talking to you because you interrupted me. I'm talking. You're trying to make a point. You jump in. You don't want me to talk. I'm done.
Well, you did talk for about 60 seconds or so. It was. I timed it. It was closer to 45, which is, I think, a lot of time. And so, if your wife has suffered so greatly in this life, and you would say, God, do what you will, when God's given you a choice between poofing her or drowning her, I would think it would be a very easy answer to say, Lord, please poof my wife. She's suffered enough. Why can't you say that? Ooh. And the problem is, as soon as Matt says, I'm not talking to you anymore, and I still got the microphone, he can't really respond anymore. Not a smart thing to do, Matt Slick. I think, Matt, in your heart, you would say poof. But because you're committed to your worldview, you have to say, your will be done, Lord. Because you're fearful of this God, that he will punish you if you dare say poof.
Look, if I speak, are you going to let me finish?
If you speak for more than 2 minutes, I will interrupt.
Then I won't speak to you. If you're going to put conditions on how I can say what I can say for how long.
I think that's very reasonable, 2 minutes. 2 minutes is way too long. And the thing is, atheists talk to me often, and they just blah, 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 blah. They talk and talk and talk. And I put up with it. Why can't Matt?
We're done talking. I gave you opportunities. You continue to be rude. You are on the wrong track. You don't know what you're saying. You don't want to hear because when you ask me and I answer, you interrupt me, and then you say how long I can. We're done.
May I ask why? Yeah, I heard him. He says, I'm done. But now he's put himself in a very tough situation where he can't respond to my questions. Okay. You went to the sufferings of your wife when I asked you to poof or drown with your wife. What prompted you to even go there? See, Matt, I think like in Discord, there's little stickers you can put next to people's names. And me and Matt have the same type of sticker. It's like a star, which means like celebrity or whatever. And so he thinks he can use his celebrity power to dictate, okay, I'm done with you, Doug. Next question to someone else. But it didn't work this time.
Okay, he's muted. So anybody else want to ask a question?
Someone else can ask on my behalf. Yeah, you can't hear me right now. And then Caleb, he was a Christian, asked this.
Matt, is there a reason why you were talking about all of your wife's medical conditions? I think he was just thrown off by how that was sort of relevant to the question he was asking.
Well, it's because he brought up my wife and the issue of her suffering and how she'll die. That's why I brought it up. Because she is.
Yeah, but Matt,
what?
To be fair, like he started up.
So his answer is because I brought up his wife and her suffering. I didn't bring up her suffering. I said, if she has to go, which way do you prefer her to go? I didn't know she had a litany of problems.
Saying, well, one of your kids, or oh, okay, you're married, your wife. Like he was just trying to pick somebody you care about. That's all. That was the only reason he said wife. I don't,
True.
It could have been anybody else you care about, right?
Notice how uncomfortable Matt Slick is right now.
Because you guys interrupt me constantly, my MO is that I'll just leave. I'm not going to have a conversation with you if you're going to continue to do that. If you're going to let me ask me a question, let me answer it the way I want to. And if you don't want to do that, then don't ask me any questions. So I would say, let's go to a different room.
Yeah, and then he leaves the room. So that was entertaining. Anything else to say about that? If you're a Christian, my advice is say poof or say drown. And then if you say poof, I'm going to ask you, why do you say poof? And then they're saying, well, because I don't want toddlers, infants, babies to drown in that way. It's just better to just get them out of existence right away. And if God wants to put them in heaven or hell, that's his business. And then I would ask, okay, if you say poof that way, why do you think God did it differently? And if you say drown, hey, I'm not going to push back. Okay. You want to drown mankind? That's your opinion, and that's what God happened to do. Would you drown your wife if given the same situation? So I would avoid like things like slavery in the Bible and that sort of thing, because actually slavery can be a good thing. Back in the ancient Near East, and this is how people saved their own lives, or people's lives were saved. They didn't have like a social safety net back then. It's either become a slave or die. So, you can, if one of the markers of goodness is survival, then yeah. But these sort of questions about the Old Testament atrocities, the flood, it goes against many Christians' moral intuitions, and then they have to confront, why is it that they deem this as bad, and yet their God did this bad thing? Okay, the other day I was on, when was this? 3 days ago? I was on Peter Boghossian's channel, and I gave him a little bit of grief. We talked about politics and labels and conservative and liberal, classical liberal, what it means. And I think eventually we just moved to, let's just get rid of labels and get to practicality. And I think I made him feel very uncomfortable, which was fun. I know, yeah. So then the question becomes, maybe I'm a classical liberal and not a conservative, or maybe you're not a classical liberal and you are a conservative. Or maybe it doesn't even matter, like you said earlier, what we call ourselves, but then align ourselves with the political party that is that we share values with, or that is more likely to do what we want them to do.
Yeah, then it becomes a question of social epistemology. Like, how do we know that if they're doing what we want them to do, how do we know that?
By the way, people can call in anytime they want.
That we want them to do the right things.
How do we know we want them to do the right things? Well, that comes down to personal morality, right?
Well, then how do we know the personal morality we have is the personal morality we ought to have?
Yeah, that comes. that comes down to the evidence, I think, for guys like me. And
Okay,
you.
so then
And
there you
goals,
go. So why do we
outcomes.
need to label what conservative liberal is totally irrelevant?
Well, just practically, like in our society, this in the United States is set up that way. Basically, two main parties, and so you have to.
Yeah, but you should always vote the person, not the party.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But do you think there are there more, if you were to have all your values, all the things that are important to you, and then the persons, the people, the politicians, do you think there'd be more? So you got your basket of values, things that you care about, and you have to start putting people in them. Do you think most of the people would be conservatives, Republican, or Democrats, progressive, classical liberals? What do you think that basket would be filled up with?
Okay,
more?
this is not a skirt to the question, and if you think it's a dodge, then hold my feet to the fire on this.
Okay. Sorry to go back to the previous video, but Vesna just made a very interesting point that I didn't consider. You said you have children and they are alive and well, but you didn't add that about his wife. I think you're onto something. I think he thought I knew his wife was very, very sick, because I added that alive and well, and I didn't do that for his wife. But truth to be told, I didn't know that. Good observation, Vesna. If I had pine points, I'd give them to you.
The fact that God, fucking something. Sorry. The fact that somebody would be or label themselves a conservative or a liberal at all and fall into the policy positions, to me, there's something wrong with that. That means your beliefs aren't based on evidence. They're primarily ideologically driven. I mean, you should have, because the conservatives have to be wrong on some things. The liberals have.
Okay, but Peter, I'm not talking about just blindly falling in line with what the party says. I'm saying you have values. You have things that are important to you. Which politicians from which party fall in line with what you already value and want?
Have to be wrong on some things. So you should have policy positions that are all over the place. I mean, that was what Hitchens said, tell me, I can't remember his exact quotation, but something like, tell me two policy positions one has, and if I can tell you the third, they're boring, or something like that. So to me, that's a litmus test for ideology. So if all of your beliefs cohere with the current, whatever the current political fashion is, you haven't really done the work, the intellectual work, to think about those beliefs and plumb the data, explore the data.
Okay, so I am going to hold your feet to the fire because I think you
Please.
dodged that question. So let's take one at a time. In your basket, you have immigration.
Okay.
And now you got to pick politicians to go in that basket to kind of fight for what you believe in or how you think the United States should operate. Do you think you would have more Democrats or more Republicans in that basket on that one issue?
Okay, so we need to get more granular on that. So I am very much in favor of immigration. I'm very pro-immigration. In fact, right after Russia invaded Ukraine, I tweeted out something like, let's grant 500,000 visas and
I'm pro-immigration because I'm an immigrant.
Brain drain the whole place. Let's just brain drain all of Russia. Take everybody, scientists, everybody.
I agree 100% with that. By the way, some people on the left don't like that. They don't like being picky on who comes in, because once you start being picky, then I think most people will say, I want a law-abiding citizen before a criminal, right? I want someone who's actually going to benefit society, even fiscally, financially, create jobs, not be on welfare, versus someone that doesn't create jobs, not an entrepreneur, doesn't have any skills that would pay taxes, and be fiscal burden to society. It's really hard for some people on the left to say that. But we as a country, if your goal is to do what's best for the country, you want a ton of immigrants who are skilled, who have an entrepreneur spirit, who procreate, who are not criminals, who are healthy. I'm sure these are all the things that Peter would agree with me on.
Just take them in. I'm very much in favor of immigration, particularly skilled immigration. The data is overwhelming for that. Australia has done a great job with that. London and Western Europe have done horrifically bad jobs with that. But I'm adamantly
Australia's
opposed to
done well?
illegal immigration, specifically much of what we see now. Now,
Okay, he's very opposed to illegal immigration, crossing the border other than a port of entry. He's against that. So now the question becomes, which politicians, and are they Democrat or Republican, share that value with you? Who do you put in your own personal basket of values?
with that being said, I gave that level of granularity because I don't know. I know Elon Musk has that opinion, but he's not a politician. I don't know enough about the political landscape to be able to.
See, this is a bit of a dodge, Peter. You don't know that illegal immigration has skyrocketed in the last 4 years. You don't know that the number of getaways have skyrocketed in the last few years. You don't know that the number of immigrants that have died either coming towards our border has skyrocketed in the last few years. You don't know these things? If you don't, you do now.
Make discerning judgments about who's very pro-immigration, who shares that stance of being very pro-legal immigration, particularly skilled legal immigration, and vehemently opposed.
Okay, let me
to
refine it
illegal
even further for you.
Please.
Based on history and what you know, do you think Biden or Trump aligns with your opinions on immigration?
Horrific. I literally, the bile is just.
See, I don't get this. I hope Peter sees this in the future. I do not get this. Why the bile? Why you should be dead inside, more dead inside. Just say, because we're not talking about anything else right now other than one specific issue called immigration. And you can separate the sin from the sinner, right? And just say, oh, on immigration, yeah, I don't want illegal immigration. Based on history, there's been record numbers of illegal immigration under Biden, not under Trump. Based on statistics, there's been record numbers of people dying, cartel activity, rapes, child trafficking, all these bad things that you don't want. Yeah, based on the record, it seems like Trump has a better record than Biden. So I'll go with Trump on immigration. If that's the one single issue you would go with. Of course, there's other issues that you might say, well, they're even equal or more important, and so immigration doesn't trump that, in quotes.
Emerging from my stomach at that question. I don't think that's the right question by your own standard of the question, because the question is like, who would, if you look at the politicians, like who are there more Republicans or Democrats who have that stance? That's the answer to your question. So that
okay, answer that one. Are there more Democrats or more Republicans who has the stance of stopping illegal immigration? Not letting a living soul cross other than the port of entry. And if they do cross, you take your hands and you push them back. If there's no wall, which there isn't in most cases.
That is an empirical question that we could answer just by surveying the landscape.
But based on what you know now.
No, but that's not the way to that. If I may, that's not the right follow-up to the question. The right follow-up to the question is, okay, well, let's take a look at everybody. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
Let's put them in baskets and let's see who agrees.
Yeah. And if you were to guess what the results of that analysis would be if you don't like illegal immigration. If you don't know, then guess. For now. And then you can find out if your guess was right or not.
That's the way to answer that question.
Biden or Trump on immigration?
I'm sicking to my stomach thinking about both of those. I just
see now. To be fair to the atheists out there, I like making Christians uncomfortable, and I like making atheists uncomfortable. I love to see the psychological pain, because I know what Peter, and most people that I talk to, I can't know for sure. But most people I talk to who call in, they can handle it. By the way, if you want to call in, the room's open.
And either one of those people.
But people
I mean,
who can answer, for all of Trump's faults, I could easily say Trump.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm just so.
Yeah. Okay, so that was fun. That's on Peter Boghossian's channel. You can check it out. I also did. I talked to Christina here about trans issues. I made a video on that. You can go watch it yourself. And I asked her basically, is trans a false belief? Which is because she has interviewed detransitioners, and she's, I think, trying to make a research paper, already has. And so I thought that for detransitioners looking back, do they say that they had a false belief? Or do they still say that there's some biological component, but yet they're kind of accepted who they are as, let's say, someone who feels like they're born in the wrong body, but really isn't, and so they just have to make do, and that there's more harm than good that comes out of transitioning in a serious way. In fact, there was a study that just came out a few days ago that showed that the suicide rates among people who transition surgically and hormones is 15 times more than the general population. So if your goal is to reduce suicide ideation, it seems like transitioning is not working. Or it might work for a very short time, but then it gets back to the same problems. Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, I'll play this. Why not? Ask a very This is another Discord conversation I had this week, which was fun, about, in general, who's more efficient, the private sector or the government. And for someone who leans right like myself, it seems like a no-brainer that the private sector is more efficient than the public sector. And I won't say in absolutely 100% everything, but in most things. And so I had a nice conversation with a guy who also talks a lot, but we still managed to get through it. My guess is, if I was to ask a very general question, like, who do you trust more, the public government or private industry? If you lean left, you're going to say the government. If you lean right, you're going to say the private sector. And
or if you're not brain rotted from tribalism, you're going to say it depends on the context.
I said in general. Now you can.
Well, you can't just say in general.
Okay, tell me.
Sure, you
okay,
can.
give me Hawaii. Give me an example of where you distrust the government.
I wouldn't want the government to, like, have a command economy of production of computers and cars.
Okay, so you don't want the government controlling the production of cars. Why?
Yeah, I want there to be private interest because I think the market allocates resources better when it comes to those things than
the market allocates resources better when it comes to cars. Yeah, so this is a big admission, I think. As soon as you say that the private market is better at allocating resources for one thing but not another, you got to show why.
Yes.
But not healthcare.
Correct.
Okay.
Because there are market failures in the healthcare industry that
Wow.
are present.
Yeah, and I didn't play everything, of course, in this short video, but one of the market failures is that not everybody has healthcare. And this is a problem because when you say who's more efficient, the private sector or the public sector when it comes to healthcare, some people on the left, they view efficiency differently than I do. They view it as, well, if not everybody's insured, then it's not efficient. But it's not, let's say, Blue Cross Blue Shield's fault that some people don't use them, right? It's a free market. You can choose to have, well, now it's against the law to not have any insurance, right? Or you pay a penalty. In a free market, people can choose to not have health insurance. They can pay their own way. If you're worth $1 billion, why do you need health insurance? You don't. Oh, you got stage 4 cancer and you're a billionaire and it's going to cost $10 million. Here you go, $10 million.
in the car industry.
Okay, but watch the baby steps
right,
here.
yeah.
The private industry is better at allocating resources in making cars. That's what you said. Is the private industry better at allocating resources in making X-ray machines?
I don't know. I suspect so.
He suspects so. Is the private market better at allocating resources in making hospital beds?
I don't know. I suspect so.
Now, if you just start combining these things, you're just a short hop, skip, and jump away from saying that the private market is better at making hospitals.
No, but constructing the hospital, not running
Brilliant,
it.
PineCreek.
No,
Brilliant.
that's asinine and stupid.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're a car company, and then he basically admits that car companies are better at allocating resources than the government. It's not just making cars, it's running a car company. If he admits that a company that makes X-ray machines does it better than the government, he's admitting it's not just about making X-ray machines, it's about running a medical facility for making X-ray machines. It's about running the company. Because if you know how to make X-ray machines, but you have a horrible company, you don't know how to run it, you don't know how to have employees and incentivize them and have your capital expenditures and investments, well, then you're not really running it well. And then the government would be better in allocating those resources. And the same, I think, holds true for healthcare. Not only does the private industry make X-ray machines, make hospital beds, build hospitals more efficiently than the government, they can run those facilities better too, in my opinion, than the government. But then again, the question now becomes, well, but not everybody has health insurance, so that shows you we need universal health care. But that says nothing about efficiency from my point of view. You can have like 50% of the population have health insurance and still healthcare be run way more efficiently than the government. It's just that not everybody's covered. And so we were kind of, I think, miscommunicating on that a little bit. But it was fun. And Hawaii, the guy I was talking to here, if you ever see this, I enjoyed the conversation. Oh yeah, this was fun. Capturing Christianity happened this week. Oh. So I don't get this. I gotta get I gotta play this first.
Now, something
There's so much I can say about Cameron Bertuzzi at Capturing Christianity. I don't know how he does this. I do not know how he does this without bursting out in laughter.
Now, something I'm super excited about, and this is not available anywhere. Like, you can't buy this online. You can't buy it from any other artist
Only
or
through me.
anyone else. No one makes this. This is a sculpture that is actually based on the Shroud of Turin, and we're offering this to anyone that signs up at the $50 tier on Patreon to support our ministry and help us continue to.
By the way, if you use this code, this scan, what is it called? You know what I mean. This code here, you're going to get some fancy spring dress, not the Shroud of Turin.
To produce videos and make this sort of content, which I think is super valuable. And if you watch these videos, you might find value in it. Even atheists might find value,
even me,
in the work that we do. But this is what we're giving at the $50.
I'm getting huge value from watching Cameron Bertuzzi. It's called entertainment value.
Tier, and you can see, if I can kind of bring it closer to the camera here, this is based on the image that we find in the Shroud of Turin. So you can actually see like the wounds.
Yeah,
on
see
Jesus
that
here. This is made from real bronze and real steel.
Real steel? I thought it was fake steel. I'm glad it's real steel, the real deal steel.
So it's very like hefty. It's significant.
It's hefty.
You can put it on your bookshelf. You can hang it on your wall.
Your own Shroud of Turin action figure.
Actually, it's just really, really cool. And so we're giving this away. Let me mention one last thing. At that $50 tier, you get the sculpture, the book.
Wait, and there's more.
and the PDF. So you get all three. At the $25 tier, you get the book and the PDF, in addition to everything that you already get on Patreon when you sign up at those correlating tiers. So, but one last time, we are in a deficit situation. I do need you guys, if you see value,
to call in today. How in the world does he say all that stuff without laughing, or at least not feeling icky inside? I do not know how he does it. It's a talent. But yeah, I tried to get on his show. He needs money, so he did a series of 5 call-in shows, and I called into the first one. And I had my camera off, then I turned it on, and he saw it was me, and then within, 60 seconds or so, I got booted. And then, of course, is the Barbara Streisand effect. People start saying, whoa, why are you booting Doug? And it just made things worse. And then Nathan tried to call in the next day, and he was shut down because, Nathan from Digital Gnosis, because, Nathan and I sleep together, apparently. We're in bed together. And so anybody from my side of the internet, not allowed. No. And the thing is, the guy he had on when I tried to call in was Cy Gart. He's a chemist. He was talking about basically it's impossible for life to have emerged naturalistically, so therefore God. So I was going to call in. And Cy and I have talked before. We've had a very civil, great conversation before, I think on multiple occasions, but I have an interview with him on my show. The audio is not good because it's very old. I think it was in 2017, 2018. But if you want to check that out, you can. I don't know. I just don't understand. So I've been experimenting with shorts, and it's YouTube and shorts are amazing phenomenon to watch, how the algorithms work. And I tell you, I have not experienced such sub growth and view growth. I got one short that is approaching 1 million views now. In fact, let me bring it up here. But it's all
Ms.
YouTube.
Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines?
It's all YouTube. Like you're at their mercy. This is why a lot of people don't do shorts, because you're at the mercy of YouTube. Like your subscriber base is really not going to watch the video. It's if YouTube decides to put it in front of your eyes when you're surfing YouTube. But this video is approaching 1 million views. And it's on the trans issue. It's why people laugh at trans activists, is what I titled
Ms.
it.
Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
what I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition
Okay, I'm
happened,
going to try again.
the rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're
which
not
is
answering
different
that.
than
Let me
gender.
ask you this question then. Why do women's sports exist?
Oh, I'm
question.
simply saying that that sex
My
is different
question,
than gender.
why
and I do
do-
believe
why
that
do
women's
women's
sports have a
sports
great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we've talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender.
Ms. Robinson, do you?
I mean, I want to appeal to people who lean left. Some of you. You know when I played a video of Matt Slick and I having a conversation, I was asking him questions. If you lean left and you answer questions like this, and you can't give straight answers, you sound just like these conservative Christians. And you don't want to be conservative nor a Christian, right? So at risk of making yourself look bad, just answer the question. See, I think that's more of a struggle on the left than on the right. I think people on the right don't give up if they look like a schmuck. Or people on the left, no, I gotta. Now, of course, people on the right do care about their in group and that sort of thing, but they're more likely to, hey, if you think the worst of me, I can take it. But people on the left, it's like, I just want to be loved. Come on, now somebody has to call in because they don't like what I just said, right?
You think prison labor should be voluntary? Is that the ACLU position?
My answer is that the majority of incarcerated workers wish to work, but it is vital that that work be truly voluntary and that there is no place for forced labor in the United States. Yes.
Okay. Do you think prisoners should have a 401k?
I think that, my opinion is not what we're asking about. I'm here to provide information and context for the committee.
Do you think prisoners should be provided with a 401k?
If I may answer, the reality is that if we paid incarcerated workers a minimum wage, it would have net fiscal benefits for the United. Talking about basic social safety net.
Do you think prisoners should be entitled to paid vacation?
Workers should be entitled to workers' compensation when they're injured or maimed on the job.
That's the question.
Absolutely. Workers are working in dangerous conditions.
Should prisoners be allowed to unionize?
Yes.
You believe that too? Okay. You think?
Yeah, I got to take my hat off to, this is Senator John Kennedy. No relation to the Kennedys of, the guy who got assassinated. You got to take your hat off that he didn't start laughing there. But this is a good short, in my opinion, to demonstrate the difference of the degree of feel sorry forism from the left and the right. From the right's perspective, it's like you committed a crime, a lot of your rights and privileges are gone. Suck it up. They're gone. You don't deserve much. Be lucky you get food, that sort of attitude. And but if you lean on the left and you're full of feel sorry forism, no, I mean, it's good that they get minimum wage and maybe even a 401k or maybe paid vacations in jail, because it helps them reform and learn to be responsible. Well, if that's your argument, then yeah, okay, pay the minimum wage, but then charge them each night for their food that they eat, the bed that they sleep in, the utilities that they use, if you want to teach them responsibility.
Is there a crisis at our southern border?
Senator, there is a very significant...
That's a yes or no question.
There's a very significant...
Is there a crisis?
Senator, there's a very significant chasing.
Yes or no, is there a crisis?
I believe I've addressed that question.
Has the crisis at our southern border made Americans less safe? Yes or no?
We are dedicated to the safety.
Has the crisis made Americans less safe?
Have a challenge of
You refuse to answer the question. Is the crisis at the southern border making Americans less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we have 260,000.
I'm trying to put myself in his position. This is Mayorkas, Alejandro Mayorkas. He's the Secretary of Homeland Security, I believe. If I was him, I mean, there's many options you can do, but you can appease guys like these evil Republicans, Ted Cruz, by saying, yes, it's made America unsafe, just like illegal immigration made America less safe during the Trump administration, during all the other administrations. He could have just said that. Answer yes, then give a little jab back at him. But all this filibustering, the blah, 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 blah. Don't these politicians realize they lose credibility when they do it that way?
Refuse to answer the question. Let's move on. Has the crisis made aliens less safe? Yes or no?
Yes.
Senator, we are seeking...
So you won't answer that question either. How many migrants died in 2022?
At our approaching our southern border?
Yes.
Precisely why we are seeking to exclude the smuggling.
Do you know the answer? Do you know how many died?
So when a politician asks another politician a question that requires a number as an answer, and you say, and that is precisely why, it's just insane. If you don't know the number, say, I don't know, but my guess is it's like 900 or so. Oh, it's actually 873. I mean, that's how you get credibility from the public. Admit you don't know something. Take an educated guess if you want, but admit you could be wrong.
Do not.
You do not. Of course you don't. I know how many died. 853. Is there a crisis?
By the way, and that's a great way to appeal to some people on the left. So let's say you want the border closed tight, and someone on the left says, no, I don't think that's the way it should be. It should be a comprehensive reform and legislation. Talk about all the people who have died, the poor immigrants who have died on their way to the border. Talk about child trafficking. In fact, in the same video, and the full link is in the description of the full video, full conversation. Ted Cruz brings out an envelope of the bracelets that a lot of the illegal immigrants wear when they cross, and they get these bracelets from the cartel. And the Department of Head of Homeland Security didn't know about these bracelets. Like, it's just crazy to me. But you ask border security in Arizona, Texas, yeah, these bracelets are lying all over the place. Passports are lying on the ground. People come with their identification and then dump it and then cross. And then when they're asked for identification, they say they don't have any. But I'm coming from a country where I feel prosecuted. They say the magic words. So then now they've crossed illegally, but now they can legally seek asylum. But if you cross illegally and then legally seek asylum, you're presumed to be ineligible for asylum, except for very rare cases. And they know this. And the reason why so many immigrants do not cross at a port of entry is they know their asylum case will be denied, but they get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of free living in the United States. Fact. So I think the main difference between the left and right on the immigration issue is the right wants, okay, first things first, seal the border. If you are Homo sapien and you're trying to cross other than a port of entry, you take border guards take their hands and they shove them back across the line. You're not crossing this line. You physically push them back. And if you lean left, there's something inside you that revolts against that. You're just like, that doesn't feel right. It's not humanitarian. And this is why I think people on the right are better at law and order than people on the left. Because of this natural proclivity. No, this is, no. Now, sometimes that's good, of course. And this is why we need each other to balance each other out. But if you're looking at what's best for the country, you want to know who's coming into the country. And you have to make the hard decisions of saying what's best for the country over what's best for the immigrant. I have what's called, I don't give a shit hypothetical. If you can really put yourself in the mindset, you don't give a shit about immigrants, and you're doing what's best for the country, it becomes a no-brainer. You let people who are skilled in, you let people in who even have money, you let people who are entrepreneurial, can create jobs, healthy, no record of crime. And this is like the problem with this immigration issue. It is a moral dilemma. It's you have to be willing to let people die. And for a lot of people, that's a hard pill to swallow. But the hard reality is you cannot save everybody. You cannot. Let's see. Oh, this one. Ooh.
This case involves a male defendant who raped a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Raped a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty. The petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
The petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
You took a 6'2", serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights? In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending? I think you're a radical, and I think you have no business being a judge.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people who hate Ted Cruz, but they probably agree with him here. You have a choice. It's another moral dilemma. Even if you think, okay, this person's mentally ill, he has been pumped full of estrogen, and so now the risk is lower. The bottom line is he's physically huge compared to women, and he has a record of doing these heinous things. And many, many women in the jail system are going to be very uncomfortable with this male being in the prison with him. The reason why the judge answered this way when questioned by Ted Cruz is because apparently there is a transgender committee that works just on this issue for prisons, for who to allow into male or female prisons. And they said it's okay to let this male into a female prison, and so she went with that. But the judge has the ultimate authority here to actually override, I think, the advice from these committees. So it's one of these situations of, well, we need to do what's best for the prisoner. Really? You do? I'd say no, you don't. You need to take in consideration everybody involved. If that means this one particular prisoner is going to have mental anguish, let this man have mental anguish. And this is, again, something a lot of people on the left, especially, can't stomach. What I call feel sorry for ism. This week?
The final nominee for Best Actor.
This week, Joe Biden did something funny. Well, Trump reposted a video that someone in, I think, Europe made, and it had this template in the background, and in that template, in very small letters, it had the phrase "Unified Third Reich." And a lot of Democrats or people on the left said, "See, Trump is a Nazi," and even Joe Biden responded to it, and I made a short about it.
The final nominee for Best Actor, Joe Biden in Trump's Unified Reich.
What's next for America?
Is this on his official account? Wow. A unified Reich? That's Hitler's language. That's not America's. He cares about holding on to power. I care about you.
I care about you.
And the Oscar goes to Joe Biden.
Stumbling on his way to the stage.
The final nominee.
Yeah. And even, I just read this morning that even CNN is backtracking on it. Okay, yeah, we went overboard here. But it's clearly Biden's like acting in that little clip. So that's why I made this, that he won the Oscar for the lead role in the Third Reich. I honestly enjoy making these shorts. They're so much fun.
As the Lord was setting out on a journey, a certain young man approached him.
Oh, my Lord, what must I do to be saved? Be less white.
But the man went away sad, for he was very white.
Pop quiz. Which one of you is more oppressed? Is it the woman or the darker one? That is correct.
As the Lord was setting out.
I don't know. I just find it hilarious combining Jesus with critical race theory.
So if we want Biden to win, he needs to win in order for us to save the world. You folks, how can I say this? You might need to tone it down. Just tone down what? Your women's reproductive rights, right? Opposing any restrictions all the way through to the 9th month. I mean, you see how you're kind of tipping your hand, right? Makes people think, wait, maybe they actually want to kill babies. I mean, why not something like this? Why not something like diversity is our...
Are you trying to say diversity is our strength?
Yes! How do you say that without laughing? Okay, what about you, pro-Palestine? You are, I'm going to say this, you're kind of coming across like you just want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
We do want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
And convincing people that they're intolerant for not wanting men to get naked in women's locker rooms. I guess that's genius. I mean, come on. So if we want Biden...
So this was, you got to go check it out. Links in the description of this one. But the Babylon Bee did a great job. I mean, when Satan himself is going to the progressive woke people on the left, whoa, like just slow down a little bit. We need Biden to win. And if you start talking about killing the Jews and we want get Israel off the map and that a woman has a right to kill a baby, a healthy woman, a healthy baby, a right to kill it in the 8th month stage, which of course very, very rarely happens. But if you're willing to say these things, I mean, come on, you're tipping your hand here. I mean, you're basically saying, yeah, kill babies. Women's rights are more important than an 8th month baby in the womb. And making people feel guilty for not, making women feel guilty for not wanting to change in front of a man in a woman's change room. I mean, that's just brilliant. But I mean, maybe you're going too far here. Kudos to the Babylon Bee. Boy, I made a lot of shorts this week.
Now, is there such a thing as trans? Of course, there are sometimes people who are, let's just say there's a mix-up at the factory, and you don't feel in your head the way you do in your body. But some of this is also just a TikTok challenge that got out of hand.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. I wrote a scathing email that I did not send.
TikTok
I ordered
challenge.
Dresses online that I couldn't afford. And then when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine, when I wasn't fine. So. How'd I do, ladies? Good? Girl power.
Now can't... there's, I think, people in this world who take that seriously. But it's obvious to me this is a parody. This is like a man taking all the stereotypical ideas of what a woman is and just saying, I'm a woman now because I'm doing these stereotypical things. And people take this seriously. This guy's made a lot of money, I bet. Oh, this one. Man, I made a lot of shorts. I got to reevaluate my life. As a conservative father, an immigrant who's now a citizen of this country, I don't understand this insanity.
Here enjoying a nice day at the beach with my kids.
Oh, someone asked a good question. Was that short made by the Babylon Bee or me? It made by me. I actually had to do a lot of work to make that because the real thing is 6 minutes long, 5.5 minutes long. And so I had to decide which are the best bits, put them together. That one actually took some time to make. And I always tag the people, so tag Babylon Bee and put their link in, so if you want to watch the thing. So they're making money from me making money, although I'm not making money from a short. Well, I may make $2 from that one, but that's a true story. Most shorts at best will make $1.50 or $2. This is why people don't make shorts usually, other than to it's a good way to get your subscriber base up.
And I turn around I got these flags planted here on the beach by these MAGA fucks. Listen, this is all America. We know. You didn't storm the beaches to stake out your territory on the beach. This isn't the fucking moon. I get it. This is America. But I'm sick of my flag being represented by white nationalist trash on a goddamn beach. Go fuck yourselves.
If he's so easily triggered by a flag, how can he enjoy spending time on the beach with his kids? And if there were black people having flags on the beach, would he be just as upset? No. As a concern? Yeah, and someone rightly pointed out that he's not upset at the flag. He just hates these people using the flag. I guess he gets a sense that these people think that they're better than him. Actually, I do think these people sitting on the beach with the American flags are better than this one specific individual. It's because this guy is on the beach with his kids, supposedly trying to have a good time. And all he can think about are these evil MAGA Republicans. This guy is sick in the head. He needs to go to anger management therapy. Like, what is wrong with you? How in the world can you enjoy your time with your kids if your anger, your bitterness, your hatred towards your fellow Americans is such to a degree that you would make a video like this and whine and complain that people put a flag on a beach? It's not like they're walking around naked or anything, having coitus on the beach, that you gotta close your kids' eyes. Like, maybe he would prefer these MAGA people having sex on the beach rather than flying American flag. I don't know. But really? So much anger from a flag? The American flag? I'm sure he'd be fine if it was the rainbow flag flying. Craziness. This one. Yeah.
Okay, surprise! I'm in Peru, and I'm at Machu Picchu. Isn't this just so beautiful? I'm here by myself. I've seen a lot of llamas, and the people here are so kind. I feel very safe here. It's a little sad that I had to leave my country to feel safe, but that will get better eventually. And I am dying for some Trader Joe's rolled chili lime chips, but
Yeah, so this video I found interesting because this past week, Peru announced that they would call transgender people mentally ill. And months prior, this person, Dylan Mulvaney, who's a guy acting like a girl, went to Peru for vacation and said, I just feel so safe here and very accepted, not unlike the United States. And then Peru makes this announcement. Well, what's interesting about this is that in order to get help from a doctor, most of the time you go see the doctor because you're sick, or you think you're sick, or you have some type of condition that needs to be treated. And if you deny that you're sick, deny that you have a condition that needs treatment, then you can't get insurance because you're basically saying, I'm fine, but I need to go to the doctor and I want insurance to pay for it. But I'm fine. No, you're not fine. Something's wrong with you. So you can't have it both ways. Either admit that something's wrong with you, and Peru phrased it as mentally ill, or say that you're fine and then don't expect insurance to pay for it. And that's purely elective. But the problem is, as soon as you use the phrase mentally ill, that makes people feel bad. And we can't have that. Because people feeling bad is an owie. I'm okay with saying everybody's mentally ill, just some more than others. Oh, this happened this past week too.
On average, men are more interested in things and women are more interested in people. And that's actually the biggest difference we know of psychologically between men and women.
You, the women,
who have had the most diabolical lies told to you? How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career?
The biggest differences between men and women in the world in terms of temperament and interest are in Scandinavia. The more egalitarian your state, the bigger the personality differences between men and women. And what you find is the more egalitarian the society, the more different the men and women become.
But I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
I know everyone's shocked when they hear this. This isn't shocking news. People have known this in the scientific community for at least 25 years. On average.
Okay, so there's this guy named Harrison Butler, who's a professional NFL football player, who's a punter, a kicker, and he is a Roman Catholic, and he went to a Roman Catholic's graduation ceremony because we're in May, and that's when all the graduations happen. And he gave this speech that you just saw parts of. And some people on the woke left freaked out. Like, this is horrible. This is terrible. Here we have this graduation with all these women in the audience, and they worked hard to get their degree. And this guy, this man, this white man with male white privilege is saying, my guess is a lot of you are looking forward to being a wife and mother someday. They just freaked out for him saying that. So then the thought occurred to me, well, is there science to back that up? And the answer is yes. That when you have a society where men and women are free to choose what they want to do, you'll find that they tend to the stereotypical roles. That women tend to be in roles that where they can nurture and show compassion, like being a mother, a wife, a nurse. This is science. In other words, men and women are different. So why in the world are woke progressives freaking out from Harrison Butler's speech? Is he saying that all women should not work? No, he's not saying that. Is he saying they can't work outside the home? He's not even saying that in his speech. All he said is, my guess is that you're going to look forward to being a wife and mother someday, and that you're not looking forward to, at least as much as men, as getting that promotion. And the science backs him up. Women tend to value people. Men tend to value things. And let me shock some women the 3 women who are listening right now. Men like it better when his wife or girlfriend or sister, whatever, when a woman says to him, I respect you. They like that more than if they were to say, I love you. If you're a woman and you've never heard that before, that's the truth. Not to say men don't appreciate and like being loved, but if they had a choice between being respected or being loved, they'll take respect on average. Whereas women are the other way around. They tend to value and appreciate being loved, cherished, more so than being respected on average. By the way, I'm an atheist, but the Bible got that right. Not because I don't believe, because a God on high said, this is the way it is. Men, you're the head of the wife. Love your wives like as Christ loved the church, and women submit to your husbands. What I mean by saying they got it right is that they looked at the world around them and saw what men and women need. Women need to feel loved. Men need to feel respected. Nobody wants to call in and disagree with me? I guess you can't disagree with the truth, right? How many of these shorts did I make? I think that's it. Yeah. Wow. I've been a busy beaver making my dams. Okay, I'll take questions in the chat if nobody wants to call in. But you're still free to call in. Links on the top. Did you watch Peterson and Cosmic Skeptic conversation? No, I haven't yet. Partly because I'm not too interested in Peterson, nor, even though I have Peterson up here right now, I probably heard most of the things Peterson has to say about life. And my guess is that conversations about, whenever it comes to religion, Peterson hedges and haws and blah, blah, blah. He bloviates. And so if Cosmic Skeptic could get him to, make a choice or state what he really believes without bloviating and depends what you mean by blah, 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 then good for Cosmic Skeptic. The point is, Butler's remarks were inappropriate to the occasion. False, 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 false. And I'll tell you why, Vesna. Vesna, you know I like you, but I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. You ready? Are you sitting down, Vesna? You have your seatbelt on? On the clip with the guy saying, women, my guess is you're looking forward to being a wife and mother. It wasn't inappropriate for the occasion because it was a Roman Catholic talking in a Roman Catholic university. My guess is 90% of the people believe exactly what he said. And my guess is 90% of the people, after he gave that speech, applauded, nodded, and agreed. Now, if he would have said this at a graduation full of a bunch of woke progressives who had rainbow lapels on their graduation gown, then you can say it was inappropriate. You could say, well, that's borderline triggering. Bingo on the Peterson Cosmic Show. Okay, so I haven't watched it, but it sounds like I don't need to now. Okay, Vesna, you can call in. Other women can call in too. Vesna's a real woman. Why did I say that? Because then someone can ask, well, how do you know? And then, then it gets very uncomfortable. I don't really know, okay? There, you got me. Love you, Doug. I can't believe Matt doesn't want me to be his fan anymore. Yeah, I understand. Okay, let's let Vesna in. What's your problem, Vesna?
Hey, am I on?
You're on.
Oh, wait a minute. All right. Okay, I closed the other tab. Am I on?
You're on.
All right. So, okay, so it was a Roman Catholic
University.
university?
Yep.
Let me-
Private university.
Like wiggling around. Okay, so it was a Roman Catholic university. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, in that case, it was not inappropriate.
Thank you. I love it when a woman can say she's wrong to a man.
How about just a person to another person? That's hard enough.
No. I am a critical sex theorist, and we need to divide women from men.
On all counts?
Yeah.
All points? Okay. So what? Okay, let's try the other.
Sorry, I should be serious. I should be serious. I was joking around. I will be serious for the next 3 minutes. Okay, so ask me anything.
3 minutes?
That's all I can.
You?
That's the only, as long as I can go. Maybe 4 minutes.
Okay. Somebody start a timer because I don't think you can do it.
Oh, I can do it. I'll start a timer on myself. Okay, I'm going to be dead serious. No sarcasm. No joking around here. Dead serious.
You're going to lose all your subscribers.
I don't care. As long as I have you, Vesna. Oh, I did. Oh no! But I didn't start the clock yet, so that doesn't count. Okay, hang on. Let me start
All right.
Oh man, I'm gonna fail.
Oh man. Oh, I've got a challenge.
Okay, 3,
All right,
2,
hold on.
1, start. Ask me anything, and I'll answer seriously with no sarcasm, no jokes, no nothing.
Boy, this is going to be exciting. Okay. What were we talking about?
The Butler
Talking about-
speech, Roman Catholic. You admitted to me that I was right, you were wrong, that it was appropriate.
Okay. All right. So does anybody else in the chat still disagree with us?
Well, you don't want to. I know you're on the spot here, Vesna, but this is up to you now. You have to.
Okay.
I gave a lot of shorts.
You gave a lot. That's what she said.
Not biting. I'm serious.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about all your shorts that you. Whoops! I didn't mean that. Okay. So we're reviewing.
Can
your
you be serious
shorts
for a
from
second,
today.
Vesna? Please. Can you be serious with me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be serious. Okay. So we talked about. How about your conversation with Mr. Peter Boghossian?
Yes.
So I got a little distracted in the chat at that point. But the problem, I think the issue was that you were trying to press him on a detail about something about the southern border.
Yeah,
Or immigration?
my goal with Peter in that video was to get him to admit or get him to say something good about the Trump administration in terms of immigration, and he couldn't do it.
Huh.
Because I don't know, but I think my guess is he values immigration, but it should be done in an orderly way, and that nobody should cross. As much as possible, we need to prevent people from crossing the border illegally. And just based on the historical record of Trump versus Biden, he, I think, has to go with the Trump administration. But he was not able to admit that.
What is Peter Boghossian's view on border crossing and immigration, apart from what
Same
Biden
as
and Trump?
I think it's exactly same as mine. That he loves immigration. I love immigration, but it should be done. We should know who, as best as possible. We should be picky and know who's coming across. Background checks. In other words, people who should come in should go through the same process I did.
Mm-hmm. Now, did Peter say as much?
Yeah.
That's what he thinks.
Yeah.
He did. And when you said, but Trump's record is that he agrees with you, Peter, but Biden's record is that he disagrees with you, Peter. Right?
Well, it doesn't even have to be disagree in thoughts. It's practicality, what actually has happened. Like when Trump was in power, the border, even before COVID, the border, the amount of people crossing illegally, the number of getaways, the number of people killed or trafficked was way, way, way down compared to what we're seeing in the last 3 years under Biden. So if you don't like those things and you like the opposite of what you're seeing in the last 3 years, one would think you would, based on that one issue alone, you would vote for Trump. And that's what I was trying to get him to admit, and he didn't.
I guess I'd have to look at how that conversation went, because
And we didn't have time, but I would have loved to have asked Peter about the whole critical race theory, critical theory, the woke business as far as trans issues, women, men and women's sports, and so forth. Because if I was to ask him, if the federal government had some type of control where they could say, okay, no federal funding for a school that allows boys to go in girls' bathrooms, who's more likely to make that statement, Trump or Biden?
It pains me to admit that I cannot see Biden making the
Right.
rational statement there.
Just based on what they've said in the past. In fact, I think Trump has come out and said exactly what I just said. And so if you're concerned, if you're a parent and your concern is, no, I don't want to be charged with bigotry or transphobia or discrimination because I don't want my daughter in a bathroom with a boy, well, then if that's your single issue, then you should vote for Trump, not Biden.
If that's your single issue, and
Yeah.
yeah, but I
By the
mean,
way,
I
I've
can
been serious
imagine
now for
saying
5
that-
minutes, 23 seconds.
Damn,
I
forgot
did
to-
it. Do I have now free reign to be sarcastic again?
Sure.
Okay, I'm back to my old self.
Yeah. Okay. How about I thought your conversation with Slick was very interesting.
Why?
Now, why?
Yeah.
Well, because it was you talking.
Oh, thank you. You love.
No,
but don't tell me you
I
love
thought
me.
that it
Tell
was-
me you respect me, okay?
Well, can it be mutually exclusive?
It can be, and I prefer your respect over your love, okay, Vesna? Because I'm
well,
ready.
I mean,
I get
actually-
I get enough love as it is. But I need a
makes
little
sense.
more respect.
It would be weird for you to feel any other way, considering that I'm a stranger on the internet, or maybe not a stranger, but we've
talked
respect
for
is
years
really the
now,
only
right?
thing we have. What?
You've been a subscriber of mine for years, right?
Yeah, more than I can count.
You did hit the subscribe button, didn't you?
Well, of course. More than I can count. I mean, I don't know if
Swear
it's
on the
one
Bible?
or if it's two.
Okay.
But I thought it was extremely interesting the way he okay, the thing about the children and the wife, like when you said that thing about the children and you threw in the alive and well, but I noticed as you were saying it, that when you asked about his wife,
Yeah.
well, you didn't make sure that he was married at this moment and that
Yeah.
he's not a widower.
And this is
And
why
that
this
she-
is why I respect you, Vesna, because you pointed something out that I had missed. And that explains his tirade, his Will Smith moment. Get my wife's
Out your
name out
mouth.
of your mouth. Yeah.
Yes, but I have a slightly different interpretation about my interpretation is actually more cynical than yours when you remarked on that. Because you said, so he was, maybe he thought that you already knew and that you were picking on him. But I think my more cynical interpretation is simply that he saw an opening.
To get
think
sympathy.
He weaponized. Wow, this is even more cynical than I realized now that I'm saying it out loud. I think that he weaponized his wife's suffering in order to grandstand and filibuster
And get out of the thought
and
experiment.
take the thing off topic.
Yeah. I actually learned that from Anthony Magnabosco. And if you're listening, Anthony, this is your fault. Because I remember years ago, Anthony had a call-in show, or it was live, and someone called in and started talking about a sob story. It could have even been suicide or something. No, it was a car accident. It was a horrific story. And Anthony had asked him a question, and he starts talking about this horrific story. And I remember Anthony just, without a beat, just boom, like not giving in to this sort of, so sad for you, and this is a horrific story. It was like, no, let's stay on topic here. And I respected Anthony for doing that. It's like, whoa. It's like, okay. It's got real now. And that's what I did with Matt Slick. Like, okay, your wife has suffered, but isn't this reason for poof instead of drown?
Yeah, unfortunately, he had the mute button, and so yeah, you put his feet to the fire, but you weren't able to hold them there because he had the mute button.
Yeah, and that's a huge mistake. That if you're in a room that you're not controlling and you mute somebody and they're still free to talk to everybody else, Matt, if you ever hear this, that's a huge mistake because you don't know what I said when you couldn't hear me.
Oh, and yes, that's right. Now here's another thing. When I suggest next time, I think that was really great that you said, but God is commanding you. Like you said, that was
Yeah.
really good. So what about this? Next time that somebody says, oh, I will say thy will, not mine, blah, 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 because they always give the same response, which is, oh, it's not for me to question. Now, when you say God is commanding, and then he just answers the same thing next time, what if you say, so you would disobey God? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. You typed that in the live stream chat and I saw it.
Ah,
Yeah. I only
okay.
read the comments you put. I don't know if you knew this. Like I
did not.
scan for Vesna's name. And if I see your name, then I'll read. But everybody else, I don't.
Control F. Or is it Command F? Are you one of those Apple using pinkos?
No. Control F. But I own the very first Apple. I think it was the very first Apple desktop ever made. Do you know what it is? I'll give you 1,000 fake Pine points if you do.
The very first?
The very first
desktop that was commercially available?
Yes. Don't Google. I see you looking down.
Okay, wait a minute.
Don't use your Elon Musk chip in your head either.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm out. Now, what about, okay, was it the Apple II or was it the Lisa?
Apple IIe. You're right.
Apple IIe.
Yes.
Okay.
75 pounds of pure computing power.
Wow.
I think there was other Apples before then, but I think the Apple IIe was the first one commercially available to everyone.
Yes, and who manually wired up the breadboard, or which is what you call like a homemade motherboard?
The Mennonites.
With his own two hands. Who?
The Mennonites. Yeah.
What?
Apple took Mennonite children and made a factory.
No, there was no factory. They were at the Homebrew Computer Club. What human being wired up that breadboard?
Oh, Wozniak?
Yes.
Hey,
oh, good. So did you say I win some Pine points?
Yeah, 999, because that sounds better than 1,000.
Wow. Did you see the conversation about Pine points at the beginning of the
No, I missed it.
chat? Well, people were saying that they wish that, so I was the first person to type in I was the second person to type in the chat. And so I was all excited that I was finally going to win Pine points. And then people said that you discontinued them like a year ago.
Yeah. It's because I did not want to have a cult following. You know me, Vesna. I'm a man of the people. I don't want to be this patriarchal figure who's bestowing a cake for the serfs to eat, let them eat cake. Like I want it to be like, here's me and here's the public, not me giving out of my generosity Pine points.
Doug, that's why I respect you.
Thank you. And with that, I'll let you go because I want other people to call in if they want to.
Mic drop. Okay.
See ya.
Bye. Thanks for taking my call.
And that's why she respects me. Am I wrong? Was it the Apple I? Of course, it sounds like with Apple I to come before the Apple II, but was it? It definitely wasn't as commercial as the Apple II. Anyhow, when I was, I think 11 or 12, my dad bought an Apple IIe. Didn't know how to use it. I started playing around with it. I figured out the basic language on my own, programmed it, and made programs for my dad's business that had accounts receivables and client lists and all that sort of fun things. And I made a huge mistake. I stopped doing stuff like that. I should have stayed in the computer programming industry. Mike.
What?
Hi.
Who the fuck is this?
This is the PineCreek call-in show.
Oh, hey, what's up? Oh, I gotta hold on. Hello?
Yes, you got to make sure that the YouTube tab is off.
I've never called into anything before in my life. I'm pretty drunk right now.
Oh, really? You look like a type of guy who calls into many shows.
No. Does my face look too red?
No, you look fine.
All right. I feel like my fucking face looks red on this camera.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk are you?
Like 2 of these. No, like less than 2 of these. This is my second one.
Oh, you're not that drunk then.
No, I'm good, dude. I'm not like blacked out. Like I'm not gonna be like a mess. I don't know what to say. I've been watching this show for a while.
And do you like me? Do you respect me, or do you love me?
Why can I hear? I can hear the show again.
Oh, you have the tab still open.
The fuck is this? Jesus fucking Christ.
Sorry, Vesna, for not showing your face. I'm not showing Mike's either.
Is this fucking is this on the thing now or what? They didn't even tell me. Is this live? What is this?
Yeah, you're live.
I'm fucking on the thing.
Yeah, there's 126 people watching, but they can't see you. I'm not showing faces today.
Okay. Thank you.
But I can see you.
Okay.
Oh, don't spill your beer.
Nah, it's fucking fine. I don't have any pants on.
You don't have pants on.
No. It's fucking hot as fuck, man.
See, this is why I didn't show Vesna's face, because I was scared that she would stand up and,
Right.
Yeah.
How are you, Doug?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Tell me about your life.
Oh my God. I don't know. I just watch your show. I'm a fan, bro. I've been a fan for a minute.
In order for you to be a fan of me, you either have to be an ex-Christian or a current Christian or a very big into politics.
I'm like on the fence,
On the fence of what?
Christianity.
Ah. Seriously, you're seriously considering becoming a Christian or leaving Christianity? What are you?
I mean, like I'm like some of this shit might be true, I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of things Christianity says is true. Like I pointed one out earlier that I think what most religions are, if not all religions, is trying to explain the world around them, and some things they got right.
Right.
Like women should stay at home and cook, and men should do the work, right?
I mean, yeah, most of the time. I think mostly. I don't disagree with that. I'm not like I'm on your side with most of the political shit, I think. Most of it. This is why I didn't want to call in. I heard you say something. I called in because you didn't have any callers that were interested. You said on the thing to call in, so I called in. I'd agree to a lot of things that I don't ethically. I don't agree with, like the terms and conditions of these weird fucking data collection things. That fucks with me a little bit. So I called in anyway. But like, yeah, as far as like
we don't data collect here, except
no, I know, but the whereby thing that freaks me out.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, I've been using whereby for years, and I think it's pretty legit and safe.
Okay, cool.
But I do need your mother's maiden name before we continue.
The fuck? Last 4 digits of your social, Doug.
I don't need your last 4. I got the whole thing.
Right,
and I'm not clear how you answered your first pet's name.
Right. Yeah. What was it? I was almost into the serious mode. You had me. I thought I was gonna call up and not be serious, but then like you fucking got me into thinking about shit. So I don't.
Well, we can talk.
What was the thing you asked first? And I was like trying to think. I was trying to think something and you threw a joke.
Well, let me ask you this: are you a Christian?
That was what it was. Yeah. I don't know, man. I started about 2 years ago. I started thinking about like, I don't know, man, you deleted a bunch of my comments. I try to explain shit in the comments like a fucking
Well, don't assume I deleted them. Like YouTube,
right.
like you should see my spam list. Like YouTube does a lot of it.
No, I got you, man. I got into that whole basically to just do like a coarse grained, like I got into that fucking philosophical mind fuck shit. And I was like, holy shit, you know, what if some of this shit's true? And I started thinking about it, and it made sense to me. So I fucking prayed, you know, like an idiot. I don't believe in that shit, you know, at the time. And I felt like this fucking feeling in my chest and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. So
well, let me ask you this, Mike. Let's get real serious here.
Oh God.
What are you lacking in your life right now? What would you say you really need?
Like fucking everything, pretty much. I'm pretty much like, I don't know. I don't want to go like deep down into like some fucking shit like psychological bullshit.
You don't want to be an onion and have me unpeel you?
Not the whole fucking counselor.
Okay, we won't do that then.
I don't know, man.
Who are you going to vote for in November?
Trump.
Okay.
100%, dude. I mean, I've never voted before in my life. I try to vote. I liked that Andrew Yang guy last time, but he turned out to be a fucking cocksucker. I'm sorry. I didn't ask that.
No.
I was literally to your screener. I was asking that before I called. Right when
I don't have a screener.
Oh, I thought I talked to somebody before I came on the thing. I thought.
No.
No. I was live the entire time.
Yeah.
Because somebody said, "Oh shit."
What? Well, hang on. No.
Unless I had more beers than I thought.
Wait, hang on. You press the link button and you talk to somebody other than me?
And I thought somebody was like talking to me, and then I could see you talking to somebody else, I thought, or talking about something else. It was like two different voices, I thought.
No, it's just me.
Maybe I'm fucking hallucinating.
No, you're not.
It was God talking to me.
What happened was you clicked the link and then you saw me here, but then you also saw me on YouTube talking.
It was like okay, because I was just having a conversation. I thought was like,
yeah,
I fucked up. So one of the questions that I was trying to ask first was that if I cuss, is that messed up? Am I allowed to? Is that bad?
Mike, I like you. I'm getting a good vibe off you, so you can cuss. You can cuss all you want.
Oh God, thank you. Because I try not to, but I fuck up, you know. Yeah, man. I want to know what you want to talk about. You were talking about a lot of shit. I was like thinking about, you know. But here's the thing. One of the things that why I haven't called in for so long, because I've always wanted. I love your fucking show, and I wanted to call in for so long. But like one of the main reasons I didn't call in is because one thing I remember that you said that was so clear to me was like, you didn't want to debate this fucking guy, Destiny, or whatever the fuck his name is. And your reason was because you agreed with him on so much, it would be a fucking boring conversation. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I haven't called in. But then it was like, I was watching your show and I'm like kind of bored. So I'm like, fuck it, man. And I was just like, you know. So
no, I'm having a good time just talking to you. But I'm
having a good time listening to you, dude.
I think the one thing if I would talk to Destiny would be like he has this attitude, I think, that all mega people are stupid or crazy or something like that.
Right. And that's what threw me off about, that's one of the things that threw me off about your comment. When you said that shit, that's kind of, I've been thinking about fucking calling in since you said that, because I'm thinking like, I think Destiny's a fucking idiot. I mean, I think everything he says is like, it's like almost like he's trying to like evolve with the times.
Well, careful now, Mike.
It's like basically like a cuck liberal that's trying to like evolve with the fucking times and like, well, it's okay to like not agree with Black Lives Matter now. They're like slowly like.
Oh, you think he's manipulated by?
I think when he first became a liberal, he was probably full cuck, and then he's slowly like retracting, trying to like fit in. He's probably a deep state, to be honest. I mean, that's the vibe that I get from him.
I've heard him say that he, like, when it comes to capitalism versus socialism, that debate, he leans capitalist, capitalistic, but yet he
Right.
sees the need for socialism.
And most of them.
That's my opinion too.
Most of them, I mean, look at the woke crowd, dude. Look at the actual woke crowd that's on the ground level woke people. They're all trust fund people. You know, they're not fucking they're not this whole weird shit that they portray themselves as, dude. They're all rich kids. This dude's just a little bit, he's like the top cuck. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little bit smarter than fucking.
That should be on a t-shirt, top cuck.
It is Destiny's face. Right.
I like Destiny though because he talks fast. I like that.
I can't stand that shit, man. I like you know who my favorite is to listen to on the YouTube shit? Is that Christian, or no, he's an atheist too. Apologia.
Oh yeah.
I don't agree with him on anything politically. I agree with him a lot on like.
Oh, you got to be careful.
Shit.
I think he is very right wing, but he doesn't say it out loud.
Dude, I got that fucking vibe. That's what I typed in that into his fucking chat one time. I was like, he's a fucking Trump supporter. He's just afraid he'll get his fucking bank.
He and I were
He's
raised.
gonna get his bank account shut off.
No, he's
from Canada.
Well, his girlfriend or partner is, I think, pretty left, and so he has to be careful. But he's a Mennonite. I'm a Mennonite.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's from the prairies, I think, and I'm from the prairies in Canada. And so my guess is we were raised very similarly. And so his views could have changed over the years. I'm sure they have, but deep down, and you know, the way he was raised, he's a conservative.
Think that just comes back to you as you get like, and you're like the older you, like there's like some sort of phase where like you believe in that saying, like where you get like the older, there's like a phase to like if you're liberal when if you're not liberal when you're young, you have no heart, but if you're not conservative when you're old, you have no brain.
Was it Hitler? Well, it's like how you're raised in the early years. It really sticks with you, and I think Hitler said it best.
What, Hitler now? Jesus, Doug, what am I getting? What did you get me? I fucking called in here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't watch the show that.
I think it was
I didn't know what was going on.
I think it was Hitler who said, "Give me a child till they're 6, and then you can have them because they already belong to me."
Jesus, that's fucking dark. That's kind of base as fuck, though, man. You think that's true though?
I think it's more true than not. I do think the early years are very important, and this is why I believe parents should not just give their kids off to preschools and public schools early on. Like with my wife and I, we homeschooled until grade 6.
That's fucking dope.
And I tell you, they were so immune to peer pressure and drugs and even the whole trans thing and non-binary thing.
Right.
Like my kids kind of, what's wrong with you other kids? Like
it can't be, from like an evolutionary perspective, it can't be that natural to have an entire group of kids the exact same age. And I mean, I don't know you're Mennonite, I don't know where you're from or like how big your school system was, but like I'm from like a small city in Akron, Ohio, and it's a fairly fucking small city. But even we had like, there was probably like 4 or 5 classes of the same age group and like, 30 kids in the same class. So it's like, that's not natural. You know what I mean? Like that shit's not natural. We're evolved to like have different shit in like, a wide spectrum of influence, not just like a peer group that what's up?
May I ask what you do for a living?
Where I do customer support.
Okay.
For a friend, yeah.
For a friend?
I don't want to say the business online.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand. Although his business might soar if you do.
I was thinking about that too, but I would feel fucking weird if I said that shit.
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
You know what I mean?
But you don't work out of a white van with candy in it. You don't work out of a white van with candy in it?
No, it's online.
Okay.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. Well, Mike, it was very nice talking to you, and I'm glad you called in.
I'm glad I did. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Peace, man.
And drink lots of water later, and Tums.
Right.
Yeah, customer support. Hello, what's your effing problem? Are you effing stupid? Hit Alt-Control-Delete. You effing a-hole. That's Mike's customer support. Whoa. Loud. Yeah, that was hilarious, Ricky. Sorry I didn't show the faces of these individuals. But they were both beautiful people. And I was just scared they would show their beauty off too much and make me look bad. So I had to hide their faces and their bodies. Rule number 1 of PineCreek Club: don't upstage the host. Oh, we got another caller. Cohen.
Hello.
What did you want to talk about?
I have never called in. I just thought, let's give it a shot.
Okay, let me turn the music off here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You'll be my last caller.
Okay, that's cool.
Are you wearing pants?
Yeah.
Okay. You got to turn off the other tab.
Oh, should I just close this app or just?
No, leave the whereby open, but close the YouTube.
I don't have the YouTube on. I have the TV on in my room.
Oh, you're the TV on, because I could hear my bumper music playing.
Yeah. So now I shut it off. Yeah.
Okay, Cohen, did you want to ask me something, or you want me to ask you something?
Well, I don't know. I just was going to share my life a little bit. I'm leaving tomorrow to deal at the World Series of Poker. I thought you'd be interested in that.
Whoa, I am interested in that.
My 4th year doing that.
Do you know what your first event is?
Well, what happens, we actually register tomorrow, and then the first tournament is either the employees event or the Omaha 8 or better.
You said you're a dealer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just meet up like 100, or there are like 500 dealers in the room, and they go through the list, and you're either going to be one of those 2 events, or you can be in the daily $200 event.
Okay, let me ask you this: since you're a professional dealer, correct?
Well, that's the funny thing. The World Series is like the biggest event in the world.
Yeah.
Poker event, and they have the worst dealers.
Oh, really?
Because they need, you have to be pretty good, but they need 1,400 dealers, and the best dealers are already dealing professionally. So you get like traveling dealers and people who have never done it before. So this is my 4th year.
Okay, let me ask you this. As a dealer in poker, do you actually think about what people have, or do you just concentrate on the cards?
That was funny because I started out as a player, and then I thought, oh, this will be great. I'll watch everything, and pick up all these things. You become like a machine. So it's just like, deal, action here, action here, call, fold, take the cards. So then I'm just like waiting, like, okay, what is he going to do? Call. And then the hands will end and I'm not even thinking about it. But then if the guy is like thinking for a long time, then I'll go, okay, based on what has happened before, I get a feel for, you get a feel for who's overly aggressive and things like that too. So
have you been on TV before?
Good. What's that?
Have you been on TV before as a dealer?
I was on YouTube, like they streamed the final table. So they streamed it, the last year is one of the.
You were a dealer for the final table of
of like a $1,500 Hold'em event.
Oh, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, because there's 80 tournaments throughout the year. So throughout the 7-week period. So I was really lucky. Like I started, it was like the last day, it was like day 3 of that tournament. And I was just one of like, there might have been like 50 tables or whatever, 35 tables. And I just kept on getting moved to a table that wasn't getting broken. So it ended up being 3 tables and then 2 tables, and I was on the final tables. It was 3 dealers like switching off on the final.
Do you want to play poker tonight?
Oh, I can't. I mean, I got so much, I'm packing and we're moving my mother into a memory care unit. It's just like so much going on before we leave. I have a twin brother too. So we're both dealers. We're both big fans of it. I discovered you first, and then he started. I noticed I watched a live stream and you were commenting to him like I didn't even know he was watching.
Oh, wow. Is identical twin?
Yeah. So I'm E. Trumbull on here, and he was like Eric Cohen 911, I think. But you wouldn't remember it.
Interesting. Well, yeah, especially as dealers, like you would confuse the players if.
Well, it's funny because we didn't know this was going to happen, but we're lined up for the roll call and it's all alphabetical. So you go like Eric Cohen here, okay, table 412, Steve Cohen here, table 413. So we were actually assigned like back to back, and every half hour they replaced the dealer. So like he taps on my shoulder and say, okay, I got my twin brother coming in. And like all the players just kind of like, they like smirk and then, no, really, and then he sits down, they go, oh my God, you guys are twins. So
have you guys ever done the twin test where like there's a partition and then someone gives commands and see if you behave the same way? Like touch your head, but they don't tell you what hand to touch your head, where to touch your head.
No, we don't really believe. We're strong atheists now.
No, but I mean like to see if there's
but we don't believe in that ESP or any of that stuff.
Not ESP. It's just like you have similar genetics and similar proclivities.
Oh, okay. I will say like we have a lot of friends in common. So like I remember we went to it was like a play or a screening. We live in LA, and then our friend was sitting in the middle, and at one point, like I forget who did it first, but like I turned to him and I made a comment, and then my brother turned to him and like made the same comment.
Yeah.
So we definitely think alike, or like we got into like I discovered Todd Rundgren, and then he discovered him just like around this. It was like the same time because he was in LA and I was in the Bay Area in California.
Yeah. See, like I've been married for over 30 years, and my wife can come into my office, and most of the time I know what she's going to say to me before she even says it.
Yeah. It's sort of like that.
And it's just like she can say one word and I know the rest. I can say one word, she knows the rest. But I was thinking with twins, it's more than just socialization. It's like
like I said, these things happen like when we were miles apart. The weirdest thing happened a few years ago when I bought a 2x2x2 Rubik's Cube, just like the very small thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd gotten it when I was a kid, but then I just happened to pick it up at a garage sale for like 25 cents, I think. And he bought one of those that same weekend.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that was just like in a different part of LA. Like that was just so freaky. I couldn't believe that. So there's all kinds of things like that.
Do you think it's like there's no rake in the World Series of Poker, right? It's just it's all in your upfront fee.
Right. It's like, so you pay, I mean, they'll say like a $1,500 tournament. I forget how to do it. It's $1,500 plus $150, to the house and $75 to the dealers or whatever, or it's $1,350 plus $150 to the house.
Okay. So if I was playing the 1,500, and let's say I made the final table and end up winning, how much should I tip the dealers?
That's weird. I've heard different stories, like how these like big, famous players wouldn't tip anything, or, I mean, and it's like a rumor, like we don't know, like supposedly the guy who won a main event like tipped like $200,000 or something, but it all gets pooled together because it'd be unfair if that one dealer got $200,000.
Right.
So it's all pooled together, and then we just get like a percentage at the end. So we don't know. But in the one I dealt, I think the guy tipped like something like $700 or something, and I don't know what he might have made.
Yeah, how much did he win?
I mean, maybe it was like, yeah, he probably made. I don't remember maybe it was like 1,500 and he made like 100,000. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it would be 6 figures if it's a 1,500 event, because there's probably going to be thousands of people, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly, but And then my brother, it was funny because I dealt that was like in the middle of the series. I was on TV. Then he dealt a final table on literally the very last day of the whole series. It wasn't the main event, it was another event. And so he dealt the last hand of that, so, and that the guy won like $700,000.
What's the most you personally have ever been tipped as a dealer?
Well, since we do the tournaments, we don't get any of the money.
No, I mean outside of tournaments.
And I don't like that because the tournament, like the pressure is sort of off. If you make a mistake, like I've pushed the pot to the wrong person before. And then it's like, no, it's mine. Okay. And then we work it all out. But it's no one actually, you're not losing cash. But if you're dealing cash, you make a small mistake, it's like $20. Or if you flip a card over, the guy's lost that money right then in real time. So it feels, I'm a little bit, I don't like it as much, It's a different atmosphere. The cash game is like a sort of like a party atmosphere. Like people are drinking. You see the same players in the tournament and they're like very serious. They don't say anything. And then they're kind of like, they're not as worried about like a coin flip situation. Okay, I'll just $200. All right. But in the tournament, you could lose your tournament life.
So what's the, I don't know if you want to say, but what's the average pay for a dealer at the World Series of Poker?
No, I think it's like, so you work, you don't really play live poker, do you? Or?
Yeah, that's all online. That's all I play right now.
No, but I mean in brick and mortar.
Oh, you mean, sorry, live. Yes. I see. I'm so conditioned that live now means online. I haven't in a long time. I think it's been years since I played live.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I was talking about when he taps me on the back, like it's called a down. So like every 30 minutes, you switch places, and they're paying like $20 a down. So that's $40.
That's it?
$40 an hour.
Okay.
Plus minimum wage, which is $12.50. So that's $52.50 an hour.
Do you ever get
and then plus we would get the like a bonus at the end, which would be a tip,
Okay. But have you ever seen people tip you from their pocket in a tournament?
Well, I actually only did cash for one day. And then I it worked out to be about the same. So it was still about $20 an hour.
Okay.
But I just prefer, I mean, I can see why people like the cash, especially like if you're a good looking girl, or if you're really like, if you're like an entertainer, then you can maybe make more money, but.
Can you deal with one hand?
No, I guess you could maybe. And that's the other thing. Like, so I didn't do it professionally. I had dealt in LA for, these companies that have like casino nights, like for businesses or proms, so it wasn't, so I was like kind of slow, but I knew all the games because I played home games. So I actually knew like the different games, like triple draw and the high-low games, but you have to take a test. You have to know like 18 different games.
Yeah.
So I was good enough to know them, but not, then after 3 years, now my mechanics are better. I'm not, I kind of know what I'm doing. So,
well, Steve, I'm going to let you go, but thanks for calling in. Interesting conversation. Something completely different.
Maybe like in the future, I could join the home game or whatever.
Yeah, you're going to have to email me first. And my email is in the tab, the About tab, and my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I had seen it before. I had never done it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I can give you a souvenir from the World Series.
That'd be great. I'd appreciate that.
That would be. I thought you might like it. Oh, and I did want to say that I think what you're doing with in terms of like questioning people, like with the Flying Man, I think it's really unique. Like you're probably the best that I ever heard out of all the channels. Because I bought Peter Boghossian's book and I listened to that Anthony, and it just, they were so like passive. It never really went anywhere. I felt like,
Yeah.
like they were just they never challenged, and you just come right out. It's very hard to get anyone to change, I think, but you really like push the envelope.
Yeah, I do a hybrid of like counter apologetics and SE. Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, I think we have a similar sense of humor, because every time I watch you, like when you laugh, like I'm laughing at the same time. It's just every time, like it's really entertaining. And then like I said, I got my brother to watch it too. So
Well, thanks, Steve. I appreciate the
Yeah.
nice, kind words. Have a
Yeah.
good time tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks.
See ya. That was interesting. No, I won't be going to the World Series of Poker. I gotta work. Thanks for hanging out. If you came late, went through a ton of stuff. Poker is tonight, though. If you're interested, email me. I can put you on the list. Poof.